So the price for Game Pass has just rose to $30, and I have a lot to get off of my chest about it. So my wife and I have been subscribed to Game Pass, I think since Halo Infinite came out. She was all aboard that game. We subscribed to Game Pass. Ever since then, she's cooled off of it, but I've always found some games to play here and there, and there's a lot of big experiences I got from it. Persona 3 Reload, Expedition 33, those are two of my favorite games of all time, and I got them through Game Pass. And even like the hidden gems like your South of Midnight here and there, I played those on Game Pass and I cherish those experiences, and I can't act like I didn't get my money's worth from those games, because I most certainly did. Keep in mind, there are things I didn't like about Game Pass before this. I don't like the idea of games kind of like in the way of your Netflix turning into content, where it's on this revolver belt of content and you have to kind of pick up and play what you want, and then it goes away and never comes back and you never really get to own anything. I don't think that's good for games in the long run. And I don't like the idea of my money going to Microsoft as this ultimate publisher who's gonna take my money and distribute it to whoever it wants to after the fact. I would just like my money to go straight to the developer, even the publisher if I have to. I don't like the idea of Microsoft deciding what to do with all these companies' paychecks. Because as we've seen, Microsoft is not afraid to do massive layoffs. It's not afraid to try to bump up game prices to $80. And let's not forget the time they tried to get rid of used games altogether, have games always be online back in the Xbox One generation. And let's not forget that greed is the reason they failed that generation. People didn't want to have to buy a Kinect with their Xbox. They didn't want to not have used games or always be online. And to this day, people aren't doing that because that's a stupid idea. And that's the reason the Xbox One lost that video game generation. And if you hear the team over at Xbox, even if they project massive profits, they act like they're on this losing streak, specifically saying, oh well, we lost a generation where everybody made their giant digital library, so no one's gonna want to come over here and play games anymore, which is so nonsensical. So what I think Microsoft was thinking at the time, they got this huge boost in revenue through COVID because all of the game industry did back then. So they tried to buy up a bunch of studios. Instead of keeping those games exclusive, trying to just keep the Xbox brand strong, they tried to create Game Pass. They wanted to create the Netflix of games, and they wanted to put Game Pass on anything with the screen. That way they can be the Netflix of games, and even if they don't make another Xbox ever again, they can always have Game Pass. Problem with that is it's not super easy to get Game Pass on every single screen. People primarily still play Game Pass on their Xboxes, and a lot of people aren't buying Xboxes. They're being taken off of the shelves at Costco because nobody wants these fucking things. I think Microsoft was looking at Game Pass, and whenever Starfield came out, it didn't do what they wanted it to do. The next Call of Duty came out, it didn't do what it wanted to do. I'm not saying these things weren't successful. I'm not saying they didn't push the bar for Game Pass. I'm sure they did. I think Microsoft just wanted to be farther along in the Netflix of games vision than they are right now. And then another thing happened. AI. Microsoft is going hard on AI, and that's why they're trying to drum up profits as much as they can, even if that means laying off people, which is not a big deal to them, because if AI does become a big thing, they're gonna lay off these fucking people anyway. And I think they don't see Game Pass's numbers going way up. They've already released a Bethesda game. They've released your Call of Duty game. So the number for the amount of consumers is not gonna go way up. So let's say we raise the price 50%, raise it $30. As long as we don't lose 50% of our consumers, then our profits will go up. We can go hard on AI, ride that out, and eventually start producing these games for super cheap. We can fire as many people as we want, and even if Xbox as a brand dies, we still got Game Pass. We can still make money through that. More importantly than that, we got fucking Windows. If we get AI through Windows, we can make all sorts of money. Or at least that's my perspective as an outsider watching the inside baseball play out in front of me. And yeah, I think it's pretty fucking gross. It's shameful that Xbox just hates being in third place so bad that they have to potentially nuke its own service just to make a profit. If you're subscribed to Game Pass and you still see value in that and want to keep subscribed, that's all you, man, but I'm telling you, even as a gamer paying $30 a month, you can pay for so much better things. Go on any digital storefront, pay for $30 worth of games, and I can guarantee you that will last you longer than the game or two you play on Game Pass a month, and you'll actually be able to own them instead. Even if you only buy the hottest, greatest game, odds are it'll take you a month or two per game. Let's say you take 2 months of Game Pass, that's just about the price of any brand new game, and considering it's going to take you a month or two to play a lot of those games anyway, you might as well just buy it. Not to mention, a lot of these games are indie games that are released for cheaper, so if that's the game you played that month, you could have just owned it instead. And I say owning, even though you're just owning it digitally. Microsoft hates physical games, by the way. You can't buy most of their games physically. I know we railed on Nintendo for this, but Xbox has been championing getting rid of physical games for the longest time. But physical games are gonna die here sooner or later anyway. That's a video for another day. I did cancel my Game Pass. I was actually gonna cancel it after Outer Worlds 2 because I was looking forward to that game, and I was like, I'm not really getting a lot out of the service anymore. I've played a lot of the big games I want to play, and I just, even that $20 a month, I was like, you know what? I would rather spend 20 bucks, purchasing a game instead of paying for the subscription service. So I was trying to knock out as many of the games as I could before then. I was going to wait for Outer Worlds 2, but I'm not paying $30 for that. Keep in mind, Microsoft, Xbox, y'all can still backtrack. You did the same thing when you tried to make Outer Worlds 2 $80. You thought everyone was going to be cool with $80, and then your pre-order sucked, and you backtracked. Don't be afraid to do that again. Because I don't know if you've seen where the market share is going. People are paying less for video games nowadays. Young people especially are paying less than they ever have because they have so many free games and so many better options and so many digital libraries they're already sitting on. They don't need to buy the brand new video games. Now that the COVID bubble has popped, and now that people's paychecks aren't getting bigger but the prices of everything else is, video games are going to take a hit, which is unfortunate because you already have laid off so many people. I am afraid to see what the next couple of years are going to bring. Not to mention what this is doing for your developers and employees you still have. My buddy who works at Microsoft said he's leaving. He doesn't want to stay with this company where he doesn't see a future in. I guess my biggest takeaway for this video is Microsoft has proven they are the scummiest and the most heartless people in the gaming industry right now, and they are going down the dark path of AI, price jacks, and instead of just doing what they should have been doing, focusing on the games and brands that they got. You have Bethesda, World of Warcraft, Halo. You have some of the biggest brands and characters in gaming, and instead of focusing on making those brands great, they are deteriorating in your fingertips while you bleed them out. I had the original Xbox. I had the Xbox 360. Maybe my favorite console ever is the Xbox 360. That's where some of my best gaming memories came from. I loved Xbox. I still love Xbox as an idea. As a company, fuck Xbox. I'm not just saying that because boo-hoo, they raised the prices. I don't want to be the guy who just rants about video game prices. I know I made a big Pokemon video where I did that. That's just Nintendo nickel and diming people. That I'm a lot more neutral on. What Xbox is doing is way more scummy because they are firing people left and right, and they're going down the AI path where they're gonna fire even more people. And once they have AI and there's gonna be robots, they're gonna put AI in the robots, and after that, they don't need anybody anymore. And then in the dystopian future where AI has taken over everything, they got AI robots walking around, and then they'll see these useless humans walking around and they'll take us out. So no, Game Pass going up, it's not like the end of the world or anything, but you know what? It kind of is. It could be. Anyway, that was my big rant about Game Pass going up. Fuck Xbox and fuck AI. And that's about all I got for this one. Thank you guys for watching as always, and until next time with that, I leave you.